Hey gamers, Maniac here with another Tales from IT, and this is going to be an interesting one. You know that feeling you get from the moment you get a new piece of tech, like an iPhone or an iPad or any kind of tablet or a new computer or a new, if you're a build-it-yourself kind of person, a new major component of a computer that you're working on building. I know that feeling. And this is a feeling that it was repeated over 50 times in one day. Yes, for those of you guys who don't know, it is very common for major companies to deploy, on their own expense, company resources to employees, whether it be providing computers, laptops, cell phones, or tablets. This will happen. But what happens the moment that the person who needs the device gets it? Somebody's got to set it up. It doesn't just come out of the box, or the person working there doesn't just get it in the box. Although maybe some companies might do that. I didn't. So let me tell you about a story where I had to set up 50 iPads in one day. That's not a joke. That's not a typo. That is a statement of fact. And I challenge you, unless you're an Apple genius, somebody working for iFixit, or Louis Rossmann, can anybody beat that record? Post a comment below if you can and what the circumstances were, because I'm going to tell you the circumstances. I've been doing work for a company, contracted out, as of recently. I don't really want to go too much into it, and obviously I'm going to be posting this information after the job has concluded, obviously, although I am recording it during the job. Where we've had to provide equipment, personal equipment, to employees. Employees have to go out, they have to do their jobs, and obviously they need tools to do their jobs. And in this case, part of the tools that are given to employees by this particular company include things like iPhones and iPads. Not unreasonable. Not a reasonable thing. Now, while some people working for the company are techies and know how the stuff works, the vast majority, at least 98% of them, are not. Which, again, is not really an issue. That's what we have me for. And that's what we have other people for. You don't have to be a techie. We take care of that stuff for you. Unless you're maliciously doing something, we can usually fix most of these issues. And one day, I got a call from one of my supervisors telling me, we got 50 people coming in tomorrow at 8 a.m. We have to give each one of those 50 people a new iPad that's been programmed for them with the software that they're going to need. Okay, this is your 10-minute warning. Have fun. Question? 50 iPads? Are they set up? No. Okay. Are they updated? Probably not. And the software that we used required iOS 12 to not crash. And most of these were using iOS 11.4. Great. Do we have names? By the way, it's common for companies, this is just different, for companies to have personal software and extra security precautions put on any devices that they provide. Obviously, if you're using your own devices, they won't have that you purchase yourself from the store, from the manufacturer directly. You're not going to have to worry about things like that. But since these were company assets and company owned, they rightfully had security features on them, preventing theft and that sort of thing, basically. Now, I'm a person who's very much against censorship, and even I agreed that there has to be things like this for company property. If not, then don't, you have people have their own devices, or it's like if you're going to use company property, obviously there needs to be theft deterrence on them, of course. The problem is that these iPads had the theft deterrence on them. And the employees that we were going to be giving these iPads to were not part of the system. They were not employees. Well, they were employees, but they were temporary employees. They were not long-term employees, which meant that they didn't have the usernames and passwords that we needed in order to set up these devices. What to do? There are 50 of them. So my superior looks at me and says, can you give us any type of solutions to how you can get this done by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? These have to be done by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And one of the people above me said, can we remove the anti-theft deterrence? I think he even went to somebody above there to try to get that. And I and the rest of the team and even my superior said, who was above him, said, we ain't doing that. There has to be some type of alternative that we can keep the anti-theft systems in place on these devices. And I understood that. So I said, okay, well, we've got no usernames, which means that I can't start them up. They won't even initiate to a home screen unless we have a profile for them. The only way I can see around that is if to upgrade them would be to use iTunes. I could probably get iTunes to basically force the devices, since they're new anyway, and since they're company property, they're not going to have SIM locks, to just wipe them and put the most recent operating system on them. In which case, after that, we can, put them back on the system, and whoever user is going to be on them, they'll simply just log in, and it'll have iOS 12 on them already. My superior said, that's not a bad idea. How many systems do you think you could do on a best case scenario? I said, well, hypothetically, it normally takes me with the current equipment maybe about 15 minutes per one unit. To wipe and blank out a system, using iTunes usually takes me around an hour. Is there any way you can bring this down? Like, what if we gave you multiple laptops, or multiple workstations? You could wipe multiple or upgrade multiple at the same time. So that would cut my work down. He's like, we'll give you 5 laptops. We'll program them, set them up, put iTunes on them. What would that bring the numbers down to? I said, I don't know. Once I had I have to download and re-download, at least for all this stuff, I have to download iTunes. I have to download the iOS profiles for each one. Yes, once I get it on each of the 5 laptops, I don't have to re-download them, of course. But that could take easily 1 to 2 hours just to start off with. But I have at least 1 or 2 that I can start with and that already have the information on them. He's like, all right, get started. Is there anything else that we can do to speed up the time? Actually, there's one thing I said. Previously to getting having this problem, we actually had a problem of running low on cell phone chargers. Apple chargers have a tendency of getting lost by our employees, and so we're told, give them out. Well, eventually got to a point where our bucket with had chargers was running low. So we told them, order more USB chargers, which they did. Only they didn't order the right chargers. We told them order USB chargers so that we could plug them in and get them working. And instead, the chargers that we got, either through a miscommunication or a misordering or a misdelivery, we received USB-C chargers, which are not compatible with the power output plugs that we're using for charge. They are compatible with the new Macs, and they are obviously faster at data transfer. But as far as I could tell at that time, most of the computers and laptops that we were using didn't even have USB-C ports on them, nor could we use the USB-C ports to connect to the power plugs that we were using, or the charge batteries that we had. Those all required regular USB. However, we had gotten a shipment of those, and the laptops that I was looking at actually had USB-C ports on them. So I said, all right, let me do a best case scenario. I took one of the USB-C cables. I asked them for it. They told me, yeah, we were going to ship those cables back. Let me take a couple of these and let me test them out. Check the ports, plugged them in my laptops, loaded it up. already had the profile on there, so I was like, okay, this is the best case scenario. I plugged it in, and I said, clock me. I took one of the iPads and I started flashing it. And it took, in a best case scenario using the USB-C ports, 12 minutes on one. And I said, I think this is feasible. Set me up a lab in the server room. I had 5 laptops running on basically round the clock. And I was basically put there by myself, which I wanted because I didn't want distractions. And over the course between around 11 o'clock in the morning till at 6:30 at night, I updated and flashed and set up 50 iPads brand new. Once we started getting the information for the once I started flashing them, getting them up to date, they gave me some login information that I could use to at least get them to go to a boot screen, so I could at least get them to the home screen so that they could be used. I was done by 6:30. I don't think my superiors expected me to be done until the middle of the night. I heard these words, "Good job." Seriously, good job. I don't know what that means. Even to this day, I don't know what that means or how I should take that, as except just regular positive. But I don't know. Anyways, Mac geniuses who I've talked to on many occasions, I have like very little real world experience. Is there anybody on the internet, whether you work for Apple or not, that can claim they had unboxed, set up, and upgraded 50 iPads in one day? There's your challenge. And I think this might be, I don't know, I haven't looked this up before posting this, but is this a world record? Did I beat a world record? I don't know, somebody tell me. Until next time, guys, bye. This is Maniac with GamingSense.net. Take care, over and out.